Guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time of stopping by, kindly subscribe to my channel, like and share this video. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for supporting me. I truly appreciate all your support. In our today's video, we'll be looking at how to transfer your case from one country to the other. Now, when I talk about how to transfer your case, I'm actually referring to those persons, that were filed for in one country, and for some reasons, they want to transfer their cases from that country that they were filed for earlier to a different country. Anyone can transfer his or her case from one country to the other. It could be family-based visa, it could be immigrant visa. So you could choose to transfer your case at any time if you're documentarily qualified and you were filed for in this other country to the other country. So for instance, we're going to use immigrant visa at this point because mine was immigrant visa and I actually transferred it from a country to a different country. So at the time, I was documentarily qualified and I needed to transfer my case from the country where I was filed for to a different country. So what are those steps? What do you need to do if you really want to transfer your case to a different country? So at this point, the very first thing you need for you to be able to transfer your case is for you to have the residence permit of that country where you want your case to be transferred to. That is the first thing you need. You need to get a residence permit of that country. You also need to get an address where you stay in that country, and then you need to get a phone number of that country. Please take note. These three things are very important. You need the residence permit of that country, you need a phone number, and you need an address where you stay in that country. Those are the three basic things that you need for you to be able to transfer your case. So let's use, probably you were filed for in Ghana, for instance, and you want to transfer your case from Ghana to Togo or from Ghana to Benin Republic. The first thing you need to do is to actually get to the country where you want to transfer your case to. You get to the country and apply for the residence permit of that country. So you cannot stay wherever you are to get the permit of that country. You have to go to the country because you need to be captured. Yes, so for wherever country you are, you have to get to the country where you want your case to be transferred to. So when you get there, you apply for that, you're captured, and you can now go back. I think it takes about 2 weeks or so, depending on the country, for you to get back the permit. So about 10 working days or so, it all depends on the country where you're going or where you're using. So once you get the permit, once the permit is out, you need to get back to the country to get the permit, the copy of the permit, and you scan it to a PDF form. Scan your passport. By passport, I mean the international passport. So you scan your passport and your permit, and that is when you now apply to the NVC. Please note that when you are applying to the NVC, you do not send a direct mail to NVC. This is something you should take note of. You should never send a direct mail to NVC. For you to apply for your case to be transferred, all you need to do is go to the NVC website and use the inquiry form. Please take note. You have to use the inquiry form to send your inquiry to NVC. And when you're sending your inquiry to NVC, you have to use your 3 names. For instance, I, Joy, my 3 names, apply for or wish that my case with this case number. Now, this case number is the current case number where you have, depending on the country. So let's say your current country is Nigeria, where you're going to use LGS as the first 3 letters before your number. So you write, I, Joy, with this number, wish that my case should be transferred from Lagos Embassy to so 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 embassy. And you also have to state the reason why you want your case to be transferred to that country. Are you now residing in the country? What is your reason that you want your case to be transferred to that country? You have to state that out. It's very important. MVC wants to see why you want your case to be transferred to that country. You also have to, include your phone number, the phone number in that country where you want your case to be transferred to. You have to indicate that, oh, this is my new phone number in this new country. This is my new address in this new country. So having done that, you now write that you have attached, your residence permit from that country, and then your data page of your international passport. Those will be attached after writing that as a PDF. And then you send that to MVC. So at that point, you just have to be patient, because sometimes for some persons, for some reasons, they might respond earlier. For others, it might take a little time. In my own case, I think it was about a week or so. Then for other persons I know, some takes 48 hours, 72 working hours. So we cannot say for sure that, oh, in 1 week, in 48 hours, you're going to get a response. You might get, you might not. And basically, there are about 2 responses you're going to get. Maybe a negative one, and you could get a negative response like requesting for further or more documents, or your address or your local phone number in the new country. That could be a response. So in that case, whatever NVC is asking you, you still have to send it back to them through inquiry. You could also get a response that your case is being currently worked on. So you have to be patient. So it all depends. And once you get that feedback that they are currently working on your case, it means that in a short while you might be getting a response. So you have to wait. Now, when it is successful, NVC will send you a mail with your new number. When I say new number, I mean the number from that country, the new country where you're transferring your case to. So MVC is going to send you the new number. So let's say your case was in Lagos Embassy, starting with LGS, and it has been transferred to Cotonou. Your new number is not going to start with LGS anymore. Your new number is going to start with COT. That is the code for that country. Another thing to note is the fact that if you were filed for in 2022, for instance, and you have transferred your case in 2025, please note that your new case number will start with 2025, but that does not have anything to do with your priority dates. So for instance, you were filed for in 2022, LGS 2022, and you're transferring your case to a different country in 2025, you're going to have COT 2025, but it has nothing to do with your priority date. So your priority date remains the same. That is just to show that, oh, you've transferred your case in 2025. So it doesn't in any way affect your priority dates. So at that point, once your case is transferred, you do not really have much to do. You just have to wait. At that point, you just have to wait. So the new country will now send you your interview dates. Yeah, so you wait for the new country, and when they have available dates, they are going to send you your interview dates rather. And when they send interview date to you, please note, you have to do medicals in that new country. So, for instance, if you're transferring your case from Lagos Embassy to Cotonou Embassy, for instance, and then you have interview date in Cotonou Embassy, please, you're not going to have your medicals in Lagos. Your medicals is actually going to take place in Cotonou, because that is where you're having your interview date. And they have hospitals in Cotonou. The embassy, they have hospitals in Cotonou where they are working with. You could just check that online, or probably they are going to send you the hospitals where they are working with. So you schedule your interview in that new country. Please take notes. You do not pay for medicals in a different country if your interview is in a different country. So whichever country, wherever you're going to have your interview date, that is where you will have your medicals. So once you get your interview dates, you schedule your medicals on time. Now it's advisable that you schedule your medicals at least 3 to 4 weeks before your interview dates. This is because there are times that your interview date can be rescheduled. Sometimes it comes forward. Yeah, so like in my own case, I transferred my case to a different country. I got the interview date from that country, and I was scheduled for interview on the 26th of February. Just I think about 3 weeks to the interview, our interview was rescheduled again to 18th. Thankfully, we had our medicals done on time, because if we didn't, that means we would have been running like headless chicken. So it is advisable that you have your medicals 3 to 4 weeks before your interview. At that time, you have enough time to wait for your interview, and you also have to prepare the documents you need to go with for interview. Each embassy have a different or their required documents. For instance, when I was filed for in Nigeria, one of the key documents was visa screen. And I think as at that time, I paid about 600 and something dollars to get a visa screen. But on getting to the new embassy where I transferred my case to, it wasn't their requirement. Visa screen wasn't their requirement. Trust me, they didn't even ask for visa screen. And even when I asked them, they didn't understand. They said it's not necessary, it's not important. So always, find out about the requirements for each or for whichever country you're going to go for interview. It's very important. All right. So look for their requirements. You can send the embassy a mail if they are responsive, and ask for the basic requirements that you need. Now, one thing that is very unique is the fact that no matter the country you're going to go, if you have been in another country for over 6 months to a year, you will need to get the police character certificate of that country. It is everywhere. And wherever country that you're coming from, you also need the police character certificate of your own country and the country where you stayed up to 6 months to 1 year. Yeah, so that is acceptable in whichever embassy you're going to go. But other things, there may be some variables. Yeah, so there was no need for visa screen. I still have my visa screen here. No one actually asked me anything about visa screen on the day of the interview, but it's one of the core requirements for a US embassy in Nigeria. Yeah, so that is that about the steps. So remember, you always have to get the country's number. Is important if you're transferring your case. The country's number is very important. Please take note. The country's number, your residence permit, and then an address. Those are the key things that you need in addition to your international passport data page. And then you always have to apply through NVC inquiry. And if for any reason NVC did not respond on time, and then you check the time frame and see that probably the day that you apply have been long past, you could send them a follow-up inquiry reminding them that you had sent in an inquiry without getting a response. In that way, it could fasten it up. So those are the key things you need to be able to transfer your case. I decided to do this video because I've gotten so many questions, like so many questions about how to transfer case. So I hope this helps. And thank you so much. Please, if this is beneficial for you, please subscribe to this channel, share this video. I see you all in my next video. Bye.